Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 7. So, last we left off, we finished the match between Team Kendo and Team Momo, and Team Kendo won. Both sides did excellent in outsmarting each other, but in the end, Kendo's team just had the advantage. They just had the advantages they needed. They were smarter and more prepared. And although you cannot discount anyone on Team Momo, they just, in this situation, weren't enough. But they have improved greatly, and we've seen that. So we'll just have to hope that they continue to do so. So now we move on to the next match, and I don't know offhand which one is next. I think based on the preview, we saw a tiny bit of the preview last time. I believe it showed Iida, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, and I don't remember who was on his team. So we'll just have to see how that goes down. But yeah, again, as I've said before, I am very much enjoying this arc so far. I really like that we're getting all of these different matches and getting to really put a focus on Class B as well as Shinso. I think it's really helping develop them as characters, and that was something that was honestly needed. So I really like it. But I guess there's not really much of anything to talk about. So we're just going to get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Another great fight in the making here, and just like the others, it seems like it's going to be a 2-episoder. It just seems like that's how they're working it. I was really confused by the sudden switch over to Endeavor and all of that, though, because that kind of came out of pretty much nowhere. But yeah, I mean, it was still good and showed his growth, and it was kind of connected to this fight considering Todoroki and everything, but it just, considering it, none of the others have had that, it's just, I don't know, it just felt a little weird. I also like the moment before the fight was even getting started and all, with Deku speaking to All Might and then Bakugo coming in and joining in on the conversation. It just makes sense after what we've seen. And I like seeing his continued growth and interest in all of this. So it's just a really nice addition that wasn't fully needed, but worked out really well. So the fight itself, we have Team Todoroki and Iida taking on Team Tetsu. So on Tetsu's team, obviously besides him, there's the one guy who can who has the gyrate powers. He can spin his arms at rapid speeds. We have Juzo, who can soften any non-living material. And we have Pony Tsunatori, who can shoot out her horns and control them up to 4 at a time. So we got some really interesting powers here. Ponies definitely seems good for either ranged or close-up attacks. Being able to control them at will and shoot them out and everything really works for either style, honestly. Tetsu obviously is very much a close combat fighter. He doesn't really have anything that works for range or just scoping things out or anything like that. Juzo's ability can definitely work range and more for planning. He definitely has more of the ability that allows him to, well, as they put in the episode, be flexible. So it allows for him to really just shine as the strategist of the group. And more close combats with the gyro arm guy. So it's like, it definitely seems like it's a smart idea to have this battle be more close combat than the others, just with the combatants at hand. Because even in Class A's team, Iida, his quirk definitely is more focused on close combat as well, like speed and everything, yeah, but it doesn't work as a ranged attack. His attacks are in your face, close moves, kicks, and whatnot. So he is very much a close combatant as well. Um, then we have Todoroki. Todoroki is kind of like Pony in the fact that he can be both close ranged and distance in terms of his attacks. His ice and fire can both be shot out at a notable distance and can be used for close range swift attacks as well. Um, and he has a little bit of a strategic side to him, so that helps him in that regard. Um, and God, who else was on the team? I'm trying to remember because those were the two that were definitely focused on. I'm trying to remember the others. Ojiro is entirely close combat. Like his entire style is based around his martial arts ability. And then they have Shoji as well, who is pretty much scouting and whatnot. Like his quirk doesn't really give him too much in terms of combat ability. So he's definitely more useful is as a support role. And there's nothing wrong with that. Support roles are excessively important, and he does an excellent job at that. So it's a really interesting pairing of teams here. Unlike the other ones, there's not like a distinct style or whatnot they can work with these ones. Both teams on Class A and Class B here have to kind of make it work with what they've got. And at this point, that seems to really focus heavily into the close combat, just right in your face fight, rather than worrying about trying to do it in any other way, in any other strategic method. The most strategy we can do is using their quirks for like tricky purposes, like we see Juzo do, turning the ice into, well, softening it so that Iida and them fall into it and whatnot. But even Iida found a way out of that because of his new Recipro Turbo. So yeah, it's really cooling to see these characters like have to deal with a situation like this that doesn't entirely favor them, but they have to work with what they've got to make it favor them. It's a strong kind of idea that these characters have to learn as part of their hero training. Sometimes the situations are going to be against them, or in some cases, even just work towards the opponent's favor more. And they've got to be able to make it work for them to be able to succeed. Um, we didn't get too much of the fight in this episode, but what we did get was, again, very basic at the moment. All we did was really, we got it started. Todoroki used his ice, Juzo softened the ice, and Iida broke out using his Recipro Turbo. And we saw Pony use her horn cannon, and not too much else actually really got started yet. The next episode's really going to put more of the focus on this fight for sure. There was also some interesting little gags at the beginning of this episode, and it just felt like not completely out of place or anything. It just felt like really sudden and weird. Like the gag with the robot and everything, like questioning its existence practically was like really funny, but at the same time, it's like, what? And then Mina, after Uraraka accidentally floats her up, she starts break dancing in the air, and it's like, what? It's just like I get the jokes. They're funny jokes, but at the same time, it just seems weird. Again, not entirely out of place, but kind of a little at least. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's just like the rest of these episodes haven't had that kind of humor. Like, yeah, there's been humor and everything, like the stuff with Monoma we saw here. It's like, yeah, of course, we always see that. That's a continuing gag. But this stuff, it's like, it just felt like we're not seeing that kind of humor right now. So it's like, why are they suddenly bringing that in? And I'm not complaining necessarily, because I again I enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny, but it just confused me a little. But yeah, either way, I did really like this episode, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. I am very excited to see more of what Pony can do, as well as see different ways that Juzo can use his softening ability other than what we've seen. Like, we've seen him just use it more directly, as well as softening random things around them in order to trap their opponents. I want to see more of that. I want to hell see more of how the guy uses his gyrating drill quirk in order to like get the one up on his opponents. I want to see more of that, and so on and so forth. Because again, like I'm liking these fights and everything. I'm liking this arc because of the focus it's giving to Class B. That is definitely the positive to it. The big focus. So that is the stuff I want to see with it. Yeah, I want to see how Class A has grown too. That's great. But Class B is definitely what I want to focus on with these episodes. So, tell me what you thought of this episode of My Hero Academia down in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.